I've been dating my stepsister for almost 2 years. We are engaged now. My fiancé, 24F, and I, 26M, are step-siblings and have been together for almost 2 years. I know that must sound odd, but please let me explain. My fiancé, let's call her Hope, and I met when I was about 14 at County Fair. We hit it off, and by the end of the week we started dating. I lived a few towns over from her, but I still went to the town she lived in to visit family from time to time. We would text/call when we could, and I would visit her as often as I could, always meeting at a park or the reservoir. Growing up, I never really knew my dad. I saw him once when I was about 5, and then didn't see him for a while after. He would make plans to come get me. That day would roll around and he wouldn't show, but he would have a bunch of pictures being tagged to his Facebook. Always he was at the bar, never failed. I finally gave up and just started living my life. Joined wrestling and got good. My coach became my father figure. On my 15th birthday, I was sitting in my room messing around on Facebook when I noticed I had a message from my dad. Let's call him Rick. Rick said he was sorry for everything and he wanted to get to know me. After thinking it out, I told him I was free the following weekend. We made plans for me to visit him. When the day finally came around and I didn't want to go, but my uncle showed up to get me and take me to see Rick. I realized on the way out there that Rick lives in the same town as Hope. I get exited and tell my uncle about it. I decided I'd wait till later to get a hold of Hope and tell her I'm in town. I texted Rick and told him I'd be there shortly. He proceeded to tell me that he lives with his pregnant girlfriend and her 6 kids. No big deal, my mom has 5, including myself, me being the oldest. My uncle pulled up in front of the house and we said goodbye. Rick was on the porch waiting for me. I walked up and he greeted me and asked if I was ready to meet everyone. I told him yes, and we went inside. He introduced me to his girlfriend. Let's call her Lisa. She told me I looked a lot like my dad, to which I roll my eyes. Rick took me downstairs to meet the rest of the kids. I walk into the living room and see a beautiful girl sitting on the couch and end up doing a double take. It was Hope. She smiled at me, but we didn't say anything though. Rick lead me into the living to meet Hope. We acted like we didn't know each other. Ricky'd asked Hope to introduce me to some people and show me around town. She agrees with a smile. Hope and I walked outside and asked each other what the hell was going. I told her I haven't seen my dad since I was a kid, and he got a hold of me on my birthday to tell me he wanted to meet me. She laughed and said our parents are dating. They have been for about 6 months. We were together for about 8 or 9 at the time. A few of her friends knew me and asked what I was doing there. We explained it to them and asked them to not tell anyone. They agreed. So every weekend I'd go out to Rick's to see Hope. Rick was too drunk to try to bond with me, so me and Hope got closer. After a few months we decided to break up, not wanting to ruin our parents' happiness. I cried a lot. After about a year things kind of went back to being as normal as I could. I'd still go out to visit me and Hope would still hang out, but that's it. We stayed friends, and a few years later our parents got married. Shortly after Hope and I had broke up, I had met someone, the mother of my child. Let's call her Dawn. Me and Dawn were together for 8 years, eventually breaking up. Dawn and I broke up in 2022, I believe. After Dawn, I dated a girl for a few months. She doesn't deserve a name. She moved in with me and my roommate. A few weeks after she moved in, she had broke up with me, had gotten kicked out my roommate's place, and it turned out they ended up together, still together today. I tried dating someone else, we'll call her Skunt. Well, Skunt was never loyal and she beat me a lot for the 5 months we were together. One day Skunt and I get into a fight. She packed all my shit in her car and told me to get in. We were going to go to her aunt's. I get in the car. I ended up falling asleep on the ride and wake up outside of Rick's house. At this point, I think it's worth mentioning Rick no longer lived in the same city, but it wasn't too far from where he used to live. Skunt tells me she has some stuff she needs to do and she'll be back in a few hours to pick me up. I get out and go see everyone, and go to find Hope. Hope wasn't there. She was on a job with her then boyfriend. After a few days, I realized Skunt wasn't coming back. She had dropped off a bunch of my shit in Rick's yard. So after I get the hint that it's over, thank God, I start looking for a job. Only thing is there's no jobs within a 10 miles radius, so that cuts out me walking to work. I don't have a bike, and at this point I didn't have my license, and it's the middle of winter. I end up using Hope's bedroom while she was out of town, and end up getting a job at a nearby bar as a cook. Christmas Eve Hope shows up with her boyfriend, so I got all my stuff out of her room and went and set up with one of my stepbrothers. Hope and I talk for a little bit, and I let her know what's going on with Skunt. She says sorry and asks when I start working. I told her I start New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve rolls around and I get off work and end up meeting my step-siblings, including Hope and her boyfriend, at the bar. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of substance use, and Hope and her boyfriend end up getting in a fight. I comfort her as I do not like to see people sad. The next day her boyfriend shows up and starts yelling at her. She tells him to get out and he says fine, it's over. So I go and check on Hope and make sure she's doing okay. After a few days she's talking, she's out of bed, she's interacting with people. Hope realized that I liked painting and drawing in my free time and invited me to come hang out in a room with her, and we worked on painting, drawings and bullshit and catch up cause it's been years. One night I tell her I still have feelings for her and she says she still has feelings for me. Nothing happened until late February. We kept it on the down low. We talked about who we should tell or how and decided just to hold off to see what happened. Well, on March 6, 23, we decided to get back together. We're both adults, our parents can't tell us what to do, and honestly I was chasing her and every woman I was with since we broke up. We break down and tell Rick and ask him not to say anything to work ready. He told his wife, Lisa, almost instantly. After they had found out, we said fuck it and went public with it. We got a lot of ridicule. I was accused of grooming her. Mind you, I hadn't seen her much since I was 17, and when I did it would be with whatever guy she was with at the time. Hope's oldest brother, 27, let's call him Chris, has supported us since day one, as did her younger brothers, Tim 22, and Taylor 16. It's her older sister, Ashley 25, that hates us being together. But we don't care, we are in love. Like I said, I looked for her in every woman I dated. Now we're in my hometown building our own lives. Her biological father likes that we're together, he likes that I treat his daughter right, and that's all that should matter. A few weeks ago, I asked her dad for her hand in marriage. We'll be meeting up in a few weeks to discuss everything over dinner. So yes, I am engaged to my stepsister, but is it really weird cause I've known her longer than I have known my own father? Are we the AH for refusing to end things between us? We are truly happy and even got sober together. We have been clean since July 16, 23.